Hello everyone and welcome back to another HTML video. In this video we're going to be going over forms in HTML. This is probably going to be the last video for HTML that I make in a while. I'll probably move on to CSS after this or upload more Python videos, but without further ado, let's get started. So to start with the forms, you need the help of a functional programming language, like for example PHP. So for the first division, we have a label. Within the label, it's for fname. So this is what the label is called, first name. And then for the input, the type is text, because we're going to be typing our name, which is letters, so that's text. So the ID is name, fname. And you can add a placeholder, or you can just not put this at all. But for placeholder, you can just put, like, for example, will. I don't know, that's the first thing that came to mind. And then required. So you can set this to required, so that if the person doesn't type anything, then it will show like a warning message or like an error message or something. You'll see. And basically do the same thing for the last name. So I just copy pasted it, and then here you have L name, and here same thing, L name, and then here you change this first to last name, and placeholder will be Smith. We have password, so label for here is pass, and then you name it password. This is the part that actually shows up to the user. So password, input type, password, and the ID is pass, and you can set the max length. So if you don't want their password to be too long, you can set it to something like 12, and then it's required. Moving on, after that we have email. So label for email, and then here same thing, you name it email. This is the part that shows again. Type email, ID email. And no placeholder. Actually, for the placeholder, you can give it something smart, like say 123@gmail.com, just to, as an example. And then next we have phone number. So label for phone, and let's name this phone number, and then type tell ID phone. Placeholder, we can set it to 123, and then 456, and then 789. 7890. I forgot that it's 10 numbers. We have birthday, so B date. So this would be date of birth, no placeholder, I guess. And then ID, B date again, type date, because a birthday is a date. Maybe you're shopping, so quantity, it's in caps lock, quantity, type is number, because it's a number. ID, quantity, and placeholder. Actually, let's set a min and a max for it. So min is 0 and max is, say, 99, but you can set like a standard value, like something that's always there. So value equals to 1, because you gotta, if you're buying something, it has to be at least 1. So the minimum, I guess, should be 1, and the maximum is 99. Before I go on, let me just add a line break in between these just to make it cleaner. So BR. Okay, this next part is a little complicated, so bear with me. It's a bit confusing at first. So label for title, and we're gonna name this title, and then we have Mr., Mrs., and Doctor. So label again for Mr., close that, and then we're gonna name it Mr. Input type radio, because we want a radio button, not text or something like that. Something you can just click on and that's all. So ID is equal to Mr. and then name is title, value is equal to Mr. And then let me just copy paste this, and for this it's Mrs., 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 and Mrs. So we have first name, last name, password, email, phone number, date of birth, quantity, and are you a Mr., Mrs., or a doctor. And then let me add 2 more. One is going to be a checkbox and the other one is going to be a payment type. So let's add a line break. So it's label for payment, and we're going to name it payment details, and then we have a select ID equals to payment, name is also equal to payment. So we have a couple options. First option is value, and that equals to Visa. Let's call it Visa. And then the second value is MasterCard, and the third value is gift card. I forgot to close this, so that's why. And then you close the select, save it, and you have payment details, Visa or MasterCard or gift card. The checkbox is not required and there's no placeholder for it. And let's say it is label for subscribe. Let me just copy paste this. Type is checkbox, ID is subscribe, and name is also subscribe, and here we're gonna name it subscribe with a colon. Save that, and you can subscribe or not subscribe, but please do. So last but not least, we have 2 very simple things, which is, first one is input and type reset. So what this will do is basically it's just a button that will reset everything. And also you have one that submits. Save, and I forgot to add a line break. Okay, so we have first name, that's Yusuf, last name, and then basically you fill all this out and then you can just reset. So I have anything here, reset, anything here, reset, and then even here, reset. It just resets everything. And then if you try to submit, since this is required, if you try to submit without a first name, it'll tell you please fill out this field. and you can reset and type whatever you want for everything. Birthday, and submit. And as you can see, you need an @.com, submit, and now it lets you, but since that does nothing, it's just gonna give you an error. So please like and subscribe if you learned something new or you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more computer science content.